Is Tony's worth the dine in 2026? Today, we'll be having dinner at one of Magic Kingdom's most iconic restaurants, Tony's Town Square. Love it or hate it, this spot is serving up Italian food in a Lady and the Tramp themed restaurant. I'm gonna be ordering all of the new dishes and giving you my honest review. So by now, it's pretty well known that Tony's gets a lot of hate, but in my opinion, it keeps improving, and it's definitely not the worst restaurant in the park. And instead of ordering all of my go-to dishes here, we're gonna try some of the newer menu items and some new to me menu items. And before we go over the menu, let's talk seating, because if I'm being honest, I came here today with hopes of sitting outside on the patio. The weather is so beautiful out, and pretty soon it is not going to be patio weather here in Orlando. So I was hoping to squeeze one final patio dine at Tony's into the year. However, I unfortunately made a reservation for a very early dinner and the parade is about to start. So everyone's hunkered down to their tables out there on the patio. So I would have had to wait a little bit for a table. So I decided to just dine inside, which is something I haven't done here in a little bit, and I gotta be honest, it's pretty cozy. I kind of like the vibe in here. And another thing about being inside, I'm able to smell everyone's food around me, and it smells really good. I smell a lot of garlic and lemon. I think that may be coming from one of the dishes that we may be ordering, hint hint. But along with the food menu, they also have a drink menu here at Tony's, because at all of the sit-down restaurants in the park, you can order beer, wine, and a select few cocktails. And here at Tony's, they have a very great sounding cocktail list, actually. I think they've changed these up recently. So they actually have an Espresso Martini on the menu. They have this limoncello margarita, which sounds great. And they actually have this blackberry orange spritz as well. Now, obviously, I love an espresso martini, so it's going to be very hard to resist ordering an espresso martini here in Magic Kingdom. Maybe I'll do it a little bit later with dessert. But another thing I want to point out is this blackberry orange spritz. They have this over at Steakhouse 71. It's actually only on their breakfast menu, but you could order it during lunch, during dinner at Steakhouse 71. And it's actually so good. So if they didn't have an espresso martini on this menu, that is totally what I would go with. It's a great cocktail, but this limoncello margarita sounds great as well. So if anyone's had this margarita, let me know how it is in the comments. Now onto the food, and all of the classics have stayed around, but they have a couple of dishes that they kind of rotate around and switch up every so often. And that's where we've seen all of our changes within the past year or so. So of course, we still have the Tony's garlic bread for the table. That is a must order when you're dining here, in my opinion. And the other appetizers include the fried mozzarella, which is pretty much a giant fried mozzarella stick. They have a Caesar salad, a house salad, a Caprese salad, and a seasonal soup. And then our entrees. They have chicken parm. They have fettuccine alfredo, which you can get with chicken or shrimp. They have a Salmon Piccata, which is one of our new dishes. This was formerly a seasonal fish, I believe. They have a rigatoni alla vodka. They have spaghetti and meatballs, and they also do spaghetti with impossible meatballs. They have a braised beef Giardiniera, which is also one of the new dishes. That was formerly the braised beef with a pepperoni sauce. And then they have the oven-roasted shrimp scampi, which I've always wanted to try. When I was going over the menu, I asked my server what the seasonal soup was, and he let me know it was like a sausage gnocchi-style soup, and I remember distinctly, a little over a year ago when I dined here, it was a sausage gnocchi-style soup. And I also remember specifically saying how I wish Disney actually had seasonal soups. I wish Disney restaurants actually had seasonal soups, because, or like they always have seasonal dishes and it's never changing. So it's just kind of funny how I'm here a little over a year later and they still have the same soup. I think they've had this soup for well over a year now, which I'm not necessarily like mad about because it's a good soup. I think I remember saying it was kind of like a combination between a chicken gnocchi soup and like a zuppa toscana from Olive Garden, so it was good. but I just wish they actually changed things up. Like, why have seasonal soup on the menu? Just put what the soup is. I don't know, it gets my hopes up because I was actually hoping to have a different kind of soup, but it's not actually seasonal. So we're done with my seasonal soup rant for the day. On to my appetizers. And the first one that I ordered was the Tony's garlic bread for the table. This has toasted ciabatta with roasted garlic butter and a Parmesan fonduta for $14. Now, talk about new. There's one thing that is certainly new about this garlic bread. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they used to serve this Parmesan fonduta sauce in this large of a bowl. I mean, like, this is a humongous bowl, and I always used to say, I wish they gave you more sauce. I don't think we'll have that complaint still. There is so much sauce here. So let's go ahead and pour a little bit on our garlic bread here. That just looks much too good. And I figured we'll save a little bit for dipping too. How good does that look? And for as good as it looks, I can tell you guys it smells even better. And I don't have to share with anyone, so we could just eat right off the plate today. I can't wait. This bread is seasoned so well. It's like a really good ciabatta or focaccia bread. And it's like crispy, but still so fluffy. Like, you could see how fluffy it is, but then you could hear how crispy it is there on the bottom. And today it's not super garlicky per se, but it's just seasoned so extremely well. But obviously the best part is that Parmesan fonduta. I love when a cheese is super sharp, and that cheese is very sharp. It's almost like just an extra sharp Alfredo sauce. And this time, like I said, they actually gave me plenty of it. I feel like it used to come in a smaller, pourable bowl, which this bowl is harder to pour from, but it's definitely like a bigger portion sized bowl. So that's definitely nice. Now we have a ton of cheese sauce. So we have some on our bread and we have some left over to dip our bread in, which I'm gonna do right now. That is definitely very nice. Or there are just certain breads that I would pay for to start my meal off with. And this is one of them. And I'm the first one to tell you if there's a bread that you can buy that isn't worth paying for. Like, I don't think the bread over at Steakhouse 71 is worth paying extra for. But this, however, is a bread worth paying extra for. I will buy it every time. And I know I was saying that I was going to get new stuff, new to me stuff, but I simply cannot come to Tony's and not get this garlic bread. It would be like sacrilegious at this point. It's too good. But we must move on from the garlic bread because I did get one new to me appetizer, the Ensalada Caprese. This has beefsteak, tomatoes, and fresh mozzarella topped with petite basil and basil oil for $12. I wanted to get one of the other salads that they offer here at Tony's because last time I dined here, I got the Caesar salad and I really did not care for it. I thought it was way too tiny for the price. The dressing claimed to be homemade, but I thought it tasted like it came right out of a bottle. And I just think all around the salad tasted like it came out of one of those pre-bagged Caesar salad kits that you get from the grocery store. So I wanted to give one of their other salads a chance, and I think this looks really good here. What I'm really impressed by is this basil oil. It looks like it's going to add a lot of flavor, and I'm also impressed that this has been seasoned. I feel like I went somewhere recently and they just didn't season the burrata. Oh, it was on the cruise at 1923. They didn't put salt, pepper, or olive oil on the burrata or any of the like burrata salad that I got. So here we have some olive oil and some salt and pepper at least on the tomato and the mozzarella. So I'm definitely very happy with that. And I can't wait to try this basil oil here. Here's what's going on with this. The slices of tomato are so thick that it's taking over all of the flavor, and I can't taste the mozzarella, which is obviously the best part of a caprese salad. I do like the flavor of that basil oil, but it's, again, hard to taste because all I taste is tomato. But when I ate a little bit of that mozzarella on its own, I could taste the basil oil, and that was really good. This could be a bit better, but at the end of the day, it's tomato and mozzarella, so it pretty much tastes how you would expect. And actually, I noticed this window behind me. I don't know if you guys noticed. It actually has Lady and the Tramp. They're kind of in the shadows back there. Can you guys tell now? It's actually really cool. So we ended up with a really cool table. We're sitting right in front of where Lady and the Tramp are dining. I don't know how it took me this long to notice, but I finally noticed. So now that we're finished with the garlic bread and the caprese salad, we're moving on to entrees. And usually when most people dine at Tony's, they're gonna order the chicken parm or the fettuccine alfredo. But I wanna let you guys know a little hack if you wanted to try maybe both. So if you order the chicken parm, you could actually substitute your side of spaghetti with marinara for a side of fettuccine alfredo. I've done that before, and that is definitely the way to go. But we're not doing any chicken parm today. We're gonna order the two new entrees, the Salmon Piccata, which, like I said, I believe used to be the seasonal fish, and the braised beef Giardiniera, which used to be the beef in a pepperoni sauce, which I had last time I was here, and I really did not enjoy. So I'm really happy they changed that up, and I'm excited to see how these two dishes are. And we're gonna start by trying out this braised beef Giardiniera. This has tender beef with crispy potatoes, arugula, and a zesty Giardiniera relish for $35. I've gotta be honest here. At first, when I saw these two new dishes, I was way more excited for the salmon, because I love any type of piccata, franchise, any type of lemony, white wine, buttery kind of sauce dish. But just by the looks of these two, this beef dish looks absolutely insane. It looks so good, and it also doesn't help that my waiter has been hyping this up, saying how good it is, but it truly does look amazing, and this is a huge pile of food. There's a lot of food on this plate. I'm probably gonna end up taking this whole thing home and eating a lot of the salmon, but man, does this look good here. We've got a ton of that brown gravy, and I'm seeing some of the peppers right off the bat. I also like that they put some of these breadcrumbs here and some Parmesan on top. This looks great. I wanna try some of the beef here first. Try and get a smaller piece, and yeah, super tender right away. Let's dip it in some of that gravy on the bottom. That is the most tender pot roast ever. But obviously what makes it is that sauce. Holy cow, that sauce is good. It's so beefy, but also spicy at the same time from that hot Giardiniera and all those peppers. That sauce is so good. When I was looking at it, it kind of just looks like the broth from a French onion soup. It looks like a thick kind of soupy broth, but don't let it fool you. It's a little hot. Those peppers got it spicy, which I really like there. And it's a little bit cheesy as well. Man, that sauce with the beef is so good. Now we also have these potatoes here on the bottom, and I want to pair it with some of that Parmesan, some of those breadcrumbs and the arugula that's on top. It says those potatoes are crispy. I'll have you know they're not, but they're really good. I mean, they're just soaking in that sauce and all of the juices from the meat. And obviously they're so flavorful. Man, this is really good. This might be the best thing I've ever eaten from Tony's, and I'm not even joking right now. This is leaps and bounds better than that pepperoni beef. And I think I remember saying the beef was good and everything was good about it. I just didn't care for the sauce. The pepperoni sauce just simply wasn't good. It was an odd flavor. It was off. but they definitely found the correct pairing, the correct sauce for this dish because this works. I will have you know though, as I was kind of picking through my plate and grabbing some more beef, I did say in the beginning this was a big old plate of food. It's a big old plate of potatoes. There are a ton of potatoes here, and there's really not a lot of beef if I'm being honest. I've only eaten 2 pieces of beef, and that's really all the beef that's left. It's kind of hard to see because it's all soaked in that brown sauce, so it's all looking like the same color. But there's just a lot of potatoes here, so that's taking up most of the plate. But this plate is like, I'd say, probably 80% potatoes and 20% beef. But we are moving on to the salmon piccata with crispy potatoes, arugula, lemon, capers, and white wine butter sauce for $36. You might be noticing with this, I did say crispy potatoes, and this does not have crispy potatoes. I figured since I was getting potatoes and that same kind of setup with the beef, I should probably change things up here with the salmon and get some spaghetti. I always like a spaghetti with a white wine style sauce. I feel like it'll soak up the sauce really well, and I figured it was also just a good change up so I didn't have to have potatoes twice in a row, the same potatoes, so I could change it up a little bit. And they had no problem kind of substituting it out, so I'll let you know if it's a good substitution or not. But let's dig into this salmon here first. The salmon looks like it's been seasoned very simply. That is certainly the case. I find that with a lot of salmon that I get at Disney, they always have a very hard time seasoning it. I usually find that it's cooked well, but it's pretty much just been seasoned with salt and pepper. And that's really what this is giving here. I'm not tasting any of that white wine sauce really. Not much butter, not much garlic, not much lemon. Literally nothing other than salt and pepper, but it's been cooked really well, so that's the good sign. And I mean, the flavor of just like plain old salmon is good. And they give us a little lemon on the side, so we'll be able to squeeze that on top, so that'll help with the flavor of everything. But I just wish this was seasoned, you know, a little bit better, especially for the price. I feel like it should be seasoned better. But let's dig into this pasta here. Hopefully this has some of that white wine flavor. Let's see. All of the flavor is literally in this pasta here. And the sauce, it's good, but I need to get some of that sauce onto this salmon here because it's the only thing in this dish that's giving flavor. And I don't know if it's hard to tell, but there is actually plenty of sauce on this dish. It's kind of just all sunken to the bottom. And it didn't really soak to the salmon or to the top of the pasta. So I'm gonna have to kind of dunk my salmon in the bottom of the pasta down here to soak up that flavor. Here we go. I'm going in. My salmon's breaking up though. This is very unsuccessful, but that is so much better. So maybe we'll just have to like mix it around a little bit more. But overall, I just love like a simple white wine, lemon, butter, garlic pasta like this. It really reminds me of my childhood, especially going to like parties and any type of celebration. There was always chicken franchise and pasta with this kind of sauce. So this always reminds me of it, and it's very hard to find here in Florida, so I love this addition to the menu. Probably wouldn't get it again because I would definitely get that beef again because that was definitely way better. But I still think it's good, and I might get it again. I don't know. I like salmon, but the beef is definitely better. Also, side note, please look at how much spaghetti they gave me. I am never going to be able to finish all of this. Highly recommend changing out your side of potatoes for a side of spaghetti. Spaghetti with this sauce. Perfect combo. Well, I am gonna get a box to take all of this home to eat for lunch and dinner tomorrow, but on to dessert. We could choose from a classic cannoli, some gelato, tiramisu, a flourless chocolate cake, a seasonal cannoli, which I hear is birthday cake flavored. Then they also have a plant-based affogato. But before we get to any dessert, I promised an espresso martini review. This espresso martini has Granger's Deluxe Organic Vanilla Vodka, Tia Maria Cold Brew Coffee Liqueur, Bowls Creme de Cacao White Liqueur, and Espresso for $17.50. And Tony's, I definitely was not aware of your game here. I have had far worse looking espresso martinis at Wailulu, at the Grand Floridian Cafe, at many places around Walt Disney World. I certainly expected this to look and taste awful. I expected it to have no foam. I expected a lot of things, but I did not expect it to look like this. This actually looks good. Like, look at the foam level on there. It has 3 beans. I thought this was gonna look awful and I was expecting really bad things, but I'm impressed just by looks. This could be good. Let's see how it tastes. Very sweet, almost like syrupy and thick. And almost a little bit sour. It has kind of like a cherry taste to it. It kind of tastes like those cherries that you get in an old-fashioned. But it doesn't have any cherry flavoring in it, so I'm not sure where I'm really getting that from. But with that being said, it tastes far better than I had expected. So I'm like not necessarily mad at this. It's very cold, like really cold. I'm getting a couple of ice chips in there, which I actually don't mind because that means it was freshly shaken, which obviously, because look at how much foam is on here. And they use that organic vanilla vodka, which I've never heard of that kind of vodka before. And they're using actual espresso in here as well, which I would have expected just cold brew. Because usually at these kinds of restaurants, they're selling like that generic Disney cold brew martini, which is not good. So with all that being said, I would get this again. Like an espresso martini in the Magic Kingdom. Imagine sitting out on the patio on a nice night, sipping on one of these. It's not great, but it's way better than you would expect from a restaurant in Magic Kingdom. So good on you, Tony's. To go with our espresso martini, I decided to go the chocolate route and I ordered the Flourless chocolate cake. This has a pistachio cream, cherries, and cocoa nibs for $9. It's really thick. When I'm cutting through it, it feels like chocolate ganache or fudge. Yeah, I pretty much just ate a spoonful of fudge. I actually like the richness level. Like, it's rich, but it's not overly rich. But there's like a lot of things that could be improved with this dessert. The pistachio whipped cream on here is really artificial tasting. That's not good. The cherries here on the bottom, I don't think they're great either. And we do have these little cocoa nibs, which do add a good crunch, but I need more crunch. I think this could be improved with some type of crunchy layer on the bottom of the cake. Like if there was a crunch throughout, I think this would be a lot better here. And then they wouldn't even have to add this pistachio or this cherry. If they just had like a crunchy chocolate layer on the bottom, this would be good on its own. But as is, it's just a scoop of fudge. So maybe if you're gluten-free and you're looking for a flourless dessert, you'd want to get it. But as is, not for me. I'd rather get something else. Another dessert around the Magic Kingdom. But this espresso martini, that's part of the dessert. Well, Tony's was a success. I'm not saying it's anything revolutionary or anything you need to rush to, but give it another shot. It's definitely better than you remember, or definitely better than the last time you tried it. But now that we're done with Tony's, there's still one more thing I want to do today. There she is. Although I don't think we're seeing much of the change from the front of Main Street right here. If you weren't aware, Cinderella Castle is currently going under a bit of a refurbishment. They're in the process of repainting it to the original colors. During the 50th anniversary of the Walt Disney World Resort, they redid the castle and made it kind of a pinkish or a rose gold with some gold accents. A lot of people were mad. I know I'm in the minority here. I actually preferred those colors, but they're going back to the original colors of the grays, of the silver, of the blues, and they're in the process of doing that. They're not gonna have like the cranes and stuff up during the afternoon, and luckily it's now the afternoon, it's later in the day, so we're being able to kind of catch the full castle. And as of the date of filming, the front of the castle hasn't really been touched yet, other than a couple of smaller details. But I found a really cool spot where we're able to see like a good look at the progress. And hopefully you can see the castle is really split in half. So the left half, the front side, is still that pink color, and then the back half, the right half, is gray. Can you guys see? Let me zoom in a little bit. It's just really funny looking from this angle. Oh, there goes the fireworks. We're gonna get another one. That was loud. But it's really funny looking at this angle because you could see the castle is really split in half right now with the pink on one side and the gray on the other. But that's kind of what the change is gonna look like. I just made it around to the back side of the castle. And wow, this looks really good. Honestly, even better than the photos that I've seen online. And this is my first time seeing this in person. Let me show you guys. I really don't even think videos do justice just how amazing this look and how well the colors pop. The gold with that really almost like bright blue looks amazing. And I actually think the gray color looks good. It definitely looks a little different than the previous gray they had. And I think this gray looks better in a way. So yeah, I think the castle looks really good so far, and I'm excited to see what it looks like when it's finished. But back to Tony's. So I already mentioned that it's nothing revolutionary. I truly think that if you go in expecting Olive Garden quality, you won't be disappointed. But if you go in expecting anything above Olive Garden quality, you will probably leave pretty disappointed. It's not gonna be like your homemade favorite local Italian restaurant, because it's simply not that. It's not anything authentic. It's not authentic Italian food. It's like Olive Garden, which isn't authentic, but sometimes it tastes good. And at the end of the day, you can find some dishes there that taste pretty good. Obviously, the garlic bread there is good, and I would definitely get that beef dish there again. I do think that was probably hands down the best entree that I have ever had at Tony's. So thank you guys for checking out this video. Thank you so much to everyone over on Patreon. I really appreciate your support. If you want to see more honest Disney food reviews just like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.